and welcome to the Victorious Living Solutions podcast. I'm your host, Nikeya Young. And if you are new, welcome to Victorious Living Solutions. We are a transformative coaching company, and we empower high potential leaders to crush their goals despite life's challenges and live victoriously. So be sure to check out victoriousliving-solutions.com for even more info. This is the podcast. And of course, we talk about all things living victoriously. And we have a very special guest with us in our virtual studio today. And that is none other than Simeon Henderson. And let's give him a hand. Welcome. Welcome. So
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Anyone who's in the Chicagoland area knows that this is one of Chicago's finest right here. So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are and what you do.
Well, hello, Nikeya. Thank you for having me on. And hello to all the viewers. I am Simeon Henderson, um, affectionately known as Mr. Chicago. And I kind of got that when I was working for WCIU, Channel 26, as an on air personality. But I always say I'm always giving love to the city that loves me back. Grew up on the west side of Chicago, where I overcame illiteracy, uh, dealing it. Gangs, drugs, violence, and all of that. My mom always said she wasn't going to let the streets take her babies.
Mm.
So, she got us out of there. And, thanks to my parents and my uncles and family and mentors and coaches, I was able to turn my life around and overcome, some of the obstacles that were faced before me. And I I've dedicated my life to helping people. Everyone knows I do acting, but acting is my passion. People are my purpose.
Mm.
So, I always try to walk in that, and no matter what I do, kind of stay focused on the purpose and goal of making this world a better place. And I know I'm only one person, but everybody can do their part. And that's kind of who I am in a nutshell.
I love it. I love it. You guys, I know I've kind of talked about on here that I do entertainment as well. I don't do it as much
Yeah.
because I focus more on this life coaching, speaking, workshop,
Hmm.
facilitating space, but that is actually how I came to meet Simeon through I can't even remember which play at this point because back in the heyday, child, I was ripping runways, doing stage play,
Yes, you were. Yep.
name it, I
You.
did it. I had a time. I got all kind of cool stuff I can show my kids now. But I met him during that time of my life, and I've never seen you. And this is saying something because it can be some interesting characters in the Chicago entertainment industry. But I've never seen
Yes.
you in a bad mood. Every time I've seen you, you're always smiling, you're always uplifting people. You've always been
Mm-mm.
a person who was about your business, always standing on business, doing your thing, but also reaching back and seeing how
Yes.
you can help other people up who are also trying to do things in
Mhm.
this business, which is also rare.
Yeah.
Sometimes Chicago has this nickname, City of Haters, or if
Man,
you can make it in Chicago, you can make it anywhere because it gets real doggy dog.
I'm honored that you are interviewing me, and it's just one of those things that everything that you're doing is necessary,
Mhm.
and we have to understand that it's work. It's work. Um,
Yes.
Loving people, caring about people, and wanting the best for people. It's a task, and you're up for the task, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And people like me, I glean from you. I see what you're doing.
Sometimes when you're doing content and you're sending emails out, and I know a lot of you out there can relate, there's a season in business. And if you can overcome this season, it's so worth it in the end. But oh my God, this season sucks monkey nuts. I'm sorry, it just does. And this is the season where you're like, hello,
Yeah.
is anyone out there? I'm doing the things, I'm sending the emails, I'm making
Hmm.
the posts, and it just
Hmm.
seems like it's crickets or things are moving, but they're not moving as
Hmm.
fast as you want them to move. And to
Hmm.
I would just say if you're there, just keep going. Just keep going because you never know who is opening those emails and who is reading them and who needed something
Hmm.
that you said right then,
Yeah.
that encouragement to keep going. And
Right.
It's not always this social media era. It's gotten us all obsessed with likes and, going viral,
Yeah, yes.
all of that. But
Yes, yes.
whoever you can impact, if you impacted two people, if somebody
Mhm.
you impacted one person that said, "I was about to give up, and then I saw your podcast," or "I looked
Yes.
at my email right when I was about to give up, and I saw,"
Mhm.
and you never know. So just keep
Mhm.
doing it to the glory of God, and don't worry about trying to keep up with the industry Joneses, or, "Oh, man,
Yes.
seems like it's so easy for that person, and why isn't my stuff blowing up? I must be doing something wrong, and, oh, Imma give up." Like, don't
Yeah, yeah.
don't
I
give up.
feel you, and it's a slow season now, and I said I won't pigeonhole it to one industry or
Mhm.
one, event or job. It's like that period for some strange reason.
Yeah.
And what you just said, you just have to stay focused because if you look at people and you look at situations, it can bring you down or make you take steps back because you're looking at people. And
Yes.
that's why you have to stay focused on your purpose and the goal. And then when you stay focused on your purpose and the goal, you're going to do it whether it's one person or 1,000 people. So yeah.
Very much so. So, all right, you guys, let's get into it. The last time I saw you in person, it
Hmm.
was at November Media, and that's the publishing company that I published my first book through. And they had a conference, and Marshawn Evans Daniels, who is one of my favorite coaches that I love to watch and listen to, she spoke at this conference.
Yes.
And that was when I saw you, and I think we did a book swap, and he
Hmm.
autographed this book for me, y'all. Nikeya with love. Thanks for your support. You can't really see it, but this book, Through the Eyes of a Man, I was like, "Oh, let me see what Simeon talking about." And I sat down and I read that book cover to cover, like the same day I got it. And I was like, it was just
You
so
can,
inspiring. So we got to get into this. And I know you've written a lot of stuff since then, because
yeah.
that was years ago.
You
But
couldn't believe I went through that, could you?
I couldn't. I was you all, if I don't look like what I've been through was a person, he's sitting right here talking to us. This was a lot. This was real stuff. I was like, "Simeon, oh my gosh." Like, I laughed at certain parts. I wanted to cry
Yeah,
at other parts.
yeah.
Like, I need the Simbo movie. I need the Simbo movie. You need to go ahead and start figuring out who you want to play you in the movie, 'cause
Yeah.
and listen, let's give the audience the cliff notes. Tell them, I want to know about your upbringing.
Hmm.
Just give us a brief synopsis of, it was bullying, it was
Oh
just
man.
kind of
Oh
stuff.
look,
Give
I
us,
overcame.
yeah.
So I just give you a little bit. It just pretty much talks about a young man that was born on the west side of Chicago,
Mhm,
um, that went through a lot of trials and tribulations that stem from, let's say, bullying in school,
mhm,
being bullied, and hurt other people.
yeah,
As a result of being bullied, I became a bully,
mhm,
and then I had a learning disability. I had an IEP till I was a junior in high school. So my mom always taught me not to let somebody's opinion become my reality, and I learned how to read through memorization.
mhm,
And so I talked about all of that and, overcoming the giants and the be symbolic moments. You see, I have be symbolic, which means simply your best, and being deeply rooted stimulates growth. Going from being illiterate to having my own word with its own meaning and definition. But not only that, but people actually say it and wear it and believe in it.
mhm,
And then overcoming abuse. I was abused by my stepfather. Like I'm talking about, like, yeah, like you read the book, you'll see. Like I was graphic. I didn't hold anything back. I told the story like it was
yeah,
because I was at a point where I always said when I got older I was gonna kill him
mhm,
because I was that mad at what he did to me and how he treated me and how he hurt me.
mhm,
And it got to a point in my life where before my mom passed, she told me that I had to let a lot of things go. I had to forgive people. That was one of the things. And then I did. And I talked to him and forgave him and told him, and I think the thing that made me mad is when I told him about it, he acted like it never happened,
mhm,
and I said, well, okay, it is what it is. I got to let this go.
Yeah.
So when you read the book, you get a glimpse at my life and how I grew up and the things I went through to get to the man you see today.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for having a strong support system and going having my coaches and people that really were my uncles that were in my corner, my dad before he passed,
Yeah.
I would have crumbled, man. I would have went the other way. And there were times where I would run with the game bangers and the drug dealers because that's where they were my homies. That's where I lived. And I
Mhm.
just thank God and my mom I never got caught. I was fast. So so it's just one of those things where, but God was always the focal point in my life. I come from over 100 years of ministry.
Mhm.
Um, but from my great grandfather, Hobson Jackson, to my grandfather, Johnny Jackson, to my other grandfather, Samuel Henderson, my uncle's a pastor. I am now, I've been ordained as a minister, but what I've been doing is ministry for years,
Mhm.
just always giving back and always everything I do is faith based. So
Mhm.
I think that no matter what people say or what people are doing in the world, you have to stay true to who you are. And when I speak, I always let people know I don't press my beliefs and my faith on anybody, but
Mhm.
I am a man of faith. This is what I believe. And I know what's kept me
Yeah.
and keeps me. So that's who I am. And I let people see that in what I do.
Hey man, that was you talking about the illiteracy and having an IEP and all of that. That was
Hmm.
most shocking to me. There were a lot of things that had my mouth like, but that was really shocking to me because I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I actually have a master's degree in special education and I taught special education in Chicago public schools off and on for like 5 or 6 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I've been a teacher,
Mhm.
and that's what I have. I have my master's in educational leadership. My,
Yeah.
my I could be a principal, but I never would do that. But I didn't know you did education.
I did. I did my undergrad degree. I went to DePaul and I got my
Hmm.
bachelor's in psychology with a concentration in child development, and then went on to be a teacher. I used to work in group homes first.
Hmm.
So just seeing a lot of your experiences mirroring the backgrounds of students that I've taught in the past.
Hmm.
And I just usually I'm able to tell if somebody has a special need. Even if they never tell me, I'm usually able to tell something, and it's not even
Hmm.
it's usually can pick it up. Um,
Yeah.
especially people who are on the spectrum, like they have all kinds of tells that like
Yes. Yes.
it just comes out. Um, but I never got that from you. I never like, there was never any inkling, there was never any like, when I tell you God has done such a work in your life that you do not look like anything that you've been through in this book. Like, gone through the fire, not smelling like smoke, no ashes, no like, if you didn't tell people these things, they would not know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was too busy making you laugh, so you wouldn't.
Man.
If anything, you just be like, he crazy.
I
Yeah. But
love
I think that I think it's important. I think it's important for people to see you as you are.
yeah.
And I've always been a happy person,
Mhm.
even when things weren't happy.
Yeah.
I always said that it wasn't for me to project onto other people what I was
Mhm.
going through. And
Yeah.
I think that was just my whole thing about service,
Mhm.
helping people and helping others. I can't help others if I'm bringing them my baggage. So I would always have to, and it's even like that. It's been like that in my family. I've always been one of the ones, the strong ones that, you know, instead of being able to grieve, I have to make sure everyone else is all right and
Yeah.
deal with what's going on and things like that. So um, sometimes it can get a little draining, and
Yeah.
it gets a little draining because sometimes you need to relax, sometimes you need to exhale, sometimes you need to refocus,
Mhm.
and so I think I've been learning more and more and still growing in that area.
Mhm. Awesome. Tell me, what are 3 things that you can think of that really helped you to overcome some of the things that you were dealing with. Specifically, let's lean
Mhm.
into one of the main ones you mentioned, which was bullying. I
Okay.
was bullied a lot as a kid too. And
Mhm.
I think that there's a reason when you go to therapy, one of the first things they ask you is, tell me about your childhood. Like there is
Mhm.
a reason they do that. And it's because things we experience as children, if they're not properly processed and dealt with, they absolutely impact the kind of adult or person we grow up to be. And
Mhm.
bullying is really huge. It definitely I did a lot of inner work to get past that. But how did you process that and overcome that?
So, good question. For me growing up, I was always taught that you couldn't get beat up by a girl.
Mm,
That was taboo. You could and if you was scared of a girl or something, you better not say anything,
mm,
right? And for unfortunately, my first bully was a girl.
mm,
And I couldn't tell anybody. So I masked it. I would mask it. I would hide it and cover it up. And then what I started doing was I started finding someone I could bully.
mm.
So that was my way of coping with me being bullied. I was doing to other people what was done to me, and I was doing it because it was being done to me.
Yeah.
And 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 uh and the thing that brought me out of it, Nakia, was my mother found out.
Mm,
Now I got think about a black mama,
mm.
a Christian black mama that
Mm,
don't play none of that kind of stuff. Finding out, and that's what stopped it.
mm.
She stopped me, and and I'm glad she did. And then as a result, I had to end up facing my giants, which was my bully, and then I had to say something. But the reason that it happened like it was happening is because I was scared to speak up. I'm not even scared to speak up. I was embarrassed. You
Yeah.
know, embarrassment, it held me back. And even as a young man, as a young kid, I saw my uncles and my dad and the men around me be men.
Yeah.
So to me, you know, knowing, you know, I was an old soul. I grew up around all my grandparents and my uncles. So I always saw men be men,
Yeah.
you know, and that's one of the things that held me bound in my mind, you know, that I couldn't let anybody know what was happening to me because it was embarrassing and it was against the guy code.
Mm. Wow. I was cracking up laughing the part in the book when you said, like, all of a sudden the teacher said, "Oh, such and such is not gonna be here. She transferring." I think she went to another school or something. It was, oh, phew, thank God. But yes, that Miss Bully girl. I think my first bully was actually a boy.
Mm,
Um, there were a couple. There were these two boys that they were best friends and they both bullied me together. And Oklahoma has like middle school. Well, they have that here too, but I
mhm.
notice a lot of Chicago public schools, the middle school and grammar school are like combined, which is so
Yeah, it's K through 8. A
yeah,
lot of them are K through 8.
that's
Yeah, a
so
lot
weird.
of them are.
It's not like that in Oklahoma. At least it wasn't like that when I was in school. I don't know if it's changed
Mhm.
now, but you would go K through 5.
Yeah.
6 through 8 had its own school.
Yeah, that was suburbs.
Yeah, see, that's how we did it, and it should be like that because 6th through 8th grade, they need to be off somewhere. They don't need to be in the same school with little
With
bitty.
the little kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but I said that to say I had those 2 knuckleheads for we went to the same grammar school, and then in
Mhm,
middle school, I had those I was like, "Oh god, please let them go to a different middle school," and they were at the same middle school. I was like, "Jesus," but I did transfer after 6th grade, so I didn't see them anymore, but
mhm.
years later, I'm talking about grown me. You know how you think you've grown past something, and then something happens to trigger and try to take you back to the old you?
Yeah.
One of them friended me on Facebook out of nowhere, and I was like
Mhm.
I was in the DMs like, "You got your nerve. You messed with me my whole life." I just went off, and do you know he did the same thing you said your stepfather did? He was
He
like,
act like he didn't know. Yeah.
"I don't remember any of that."
And but you know the thing about it though, he probably didn't even remember because you guys were young, you were kids,
Mhm,
and he's probably matured now,
mhm.
hopefully, and he
Oh,
probably did. I look, I'm like, hopefully, and
please
then I
not.
mean, and he probably did. My bully, the girl I talked about, it
Mhm.
was hilarious when I did a thing releasing my book and talking about my book. She was one of the first people on that congratulated me. She follows all my stuff, everything, and I'm like, I'm looking at the comments and stuff, like I'm doing a live interview. Or like
Yeah,
when I'm doing my podcast, she's watching. I want to say, that's her right there. That's
it's
her. But I
you.
wouldn't say
Speaking
that.
of the devil, y'all, here she is.
I'm like, ain't that about it? Y'all not gonna believe this. Look,
And we
yeah,
left
but yeah,
now,
so
man.
yeah,
That's crazy. I'm glad that your mom found out and put a stop to it. Definitely put a stop to you being. I can't even imagine
yeah.
being a bully. I
I
just,
know that is crazy.
I just that just sounds so. I can't even imagine sweet little Simeon bullying someone. But no. So let's talk
Mm,
about neighborhood stuff now, because we
mm,
got bullying is one thing, but people don't understand when you grow up in a neighborhood that has
mm-hmm.
violence, that has you're in constant fight or flight mode. Look at baby Simeon. Oh my goodness.
Could you imagine him being a bully?
No, I cannot. You still look like that. That is the sweetest picture. My goodness. I ain't gonna show you no little pictures of me because child. Maybe I'll do that on a podcast one day. Y'all be like, ooh, child, the globe is real, Nikeya, because woo child. But no,
Mm,
it's very just being in a constant state of you have to be on guard, like
mhm,
always watching your peripherals. You're always because anything could pop off at any given time. So anyone who's come from a neighborhood like that, you already know that
mhm,
you it's man, it's a lot. So what would you say were some things you did to just survive in that space and
mhm.
also not take on the mentality of the space?
Okay.
Yeah, let's talk about.
So some of the things that I did to survive in that space
Mhm.
actually put me in danger a
Mm,
couple of times. So
wow.
one of the things that we did to survive in the space, I played basketball growing up.
Mm,
So we would be on the basketball court from sun up to sundown.
yeah.
In the summer, it wasn't like it is now. We go out when the sun come up and we go, they had the little row house where you go get your lunch and eat. We go eat lunch, and then we go back to the court, be playing. By the time the sun going down, we going home. So because your mama didn't play that,
Yeah.
and being on the basketball court was my sanctuary. But there were a couple of times where being on a basketball court almost cost me my life.
Wow.
Um, the one time there was a shootout, they were shooting across us. Like say they on this side, we're right here in the basketball court
And they
playing
just start
basketball,
firing.
and they just start open fire at each other and shooting like we weren't even there.
Wow.
We're down on the ground. I vividly remember like seeing like bullets scrape the court, you know what I'm saying? And hearing it hit off the project building, and it was just crazy. But some of the things that I did to stay away from that was sports. And
Yeah.
then we would actually go to other nicer neighborhoods and go play basketball. And we played marbles and went bike riding by UIC and did summer camps. Those are the things that we did. But even in doing those things, sometimes we encountered some dangerous situations
Mm,
and some danger. So yeah, it was that's what it was like growing up, you know, in the village where I grew up at. It
yeah.
was called The Village, on the
Mhm.
west side of Chicago.
Man, I can't. I've been in a neighborhood where drive-bys took place, but I've never been narrowly missed by bullets like that.
Mhm.
That's
Oh
really
man,
dramatic.
Nakia, I know that I'm here for a purpose. I've been in that situation several times, including a time where someone put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger and it jammed.
Wow,
Like so, if you don't think I know my purpose,
man.
you gotta think twice. So I know I'm here for a reason, and I don't take that lightly. And so when people ask, why do I do what I do, or why I'm always so passionate about helping people and making a difference. It's because, somebody, A, somebody did it for me, and B, I feel someone has to do it. I tell people all the time, it's like when I pledged my fraternity, um, a lot of the stuff I went through, and I pledged by myself, a lot of stuff I went through when I pledged young men, I wouldn't let other people do certain things to them. And they would be like, it happened to you. Why you? And I'm like, so I said, all great people had to go through a little turmoil in order to be great and help people. So you don't, you look at what's the vision, what's the goal, what's the mission,
Mhm.
and that's the focus, not the silly stuff,
Yeah.
the education, so yeah.
Man, oh my goodness. So we got sports. We've got how did you get I know sports was a big saving grace for you.
Hmm.
How did you discover the entertainment portion? Because y'all, Simeon does some stuff. Will you do acting? Don't you do you like sing or make I know you do music. Is
I
it
used to.
okay, got it. So what all
So so
how did you discover that part of yourself?
so I discovered entertainment
Mhm.
through sports.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So coming out of college, um, I was a All-American football player, broke some NCAA records, and I was trying out for pro teams and doing that thing, and I I I ended up going to camp. I went to camp for the Rams. I got hurt, came back home. I was rehabbing, and because of the circles I ran in, I started doing some modeling.
Okay.
And so I started doing some modeling, and I thought it was fun for me because I love people.
Yeah.
So I used to have a ball. Nigga. I'd be on the runway dancing, having a ball. And one day, this guy came up to me. He was like, "Man, I love your personality. You'll be great on my show." And I'm
Mm.
like, "Whatever. What are you talking about? Whatever." And so we exchanged information. And sure enough, he had a show on Can TV.
Okay.
So I went down there and I started doing interviews, and I would host little fashion shows and things like that. And people were watching me on local TV, and
Mhm.
people would call in and ask how they could book me to host their events. So I
Mm.
started hosting fashion shows, what you call it, talent shows and different things like that. And I ended up my barber was like, "Man, they're auditioning for barbershop. You should go." And
Mm.
I didn't have a headshot, a resume, and so I got the sides. I learned the part. I dressed the character. I went there. The kid I dressed. I was going for the Black Panther.
Okay.
I dressed like Black Panther. I had Eldridge Cleaver's book in
Mm.
my hand. I parked 3 blocks away and walked to the audition in character. I
Mm.
got there, and you've heard of Sharon King.
Yeah.
Sharon King was we're good friends now, but this is when I first met her. I got in there and I did that audition, and she stopped me and she goes, "Who are you? Where did you come from?" And
Mm.
I didn't know how to take that. And she goes, "No, no, no, it's not a bad thing." She goes, "You have raw talent."
Mhm.
And so she said, "What I want you to do is I want you to take some classes." The next that 3 days later, I signed up at Second City. 4 days later, they called me back to be a stand-in in work in a barbershop. And if anybody who's watching this don't know what a stand-in does everything the main character does
Mhm.
on camera to get the director and everybody ready for them to do it on camera. And I was Keenan stand-in.
Mm.
Um, and so I did that, and I started taking my classes. And then my instructor introduced me to his agent. I got an agent. I started booking gigs while I was taking classes. And that's how I got into acting.
Awesome. Awesome.
So,
That is awesome. About how old were you when that first took off?
you trying to get me to my age.
Uh-uh. He said that's G14 classified information.
No, no, I think I was, at that time, I think I was about 25.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's about 25. Yeah, it's about 25, maybe 26. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That is
Hmm.
awesome. Awesome, awesome. So tell us about how you did the sports, you did the entertainment, and
Hmm.
then you get into the speaking, coaching. How did you get into that?
So now here's the funny part. I was doing that all along.
Okay.
So when I was in high school and college, I would always go work with the younger kids when I was in
Yeah.
high school. Then when I was in college, I would always go back and work with the younger kids. And then I had my first speaking engagement, my eighth grade graduation. Now remember, I was the kid that couldn't read,
Mm.
but I could talk. And people liked me. I was likable. But the thing is, I never knew then I was gonna be a life coach or a motivational speaker. I didn't know that. I just knew that I liked helping people,
Yeah.
even at a young age. And then what happened was, as I started getting older, I was like, I knew I had a voice, and I always found myself when I was in college, and then when I graduated college and I started subbing and working as a teacher, I always found myself telling kids and even people my story. But
Yeah.
the reason I was telling my story, because I was always in the impoverished neighborhoods or the bad neighborhoods. So I was always telling them, hey man, you can be great. Hey, don't let somebody's opinion become your reality. Hey, you can be symbolic. What that mean? It means simply your best. You
Mm.
can always be your best. So I found myself doing that. And so from there, I would I would go speak at little events. Like I'm talking about 5 people, 10 people, but for to me it didn't matter how many it was.
Mm.
And then I started speaking at like I had to go speak at a battered women's shelter one time, and I'm like, what am I gonna tell these ladies? And I remember at one point when I lived in LA, I was homeless. I knew overcame abuse. And I knew I had a mama that I loved dearly and taught me a lot. And
Yeah.
so I started using all of these things that I've been through and that I knew to encourage other people.
Mm.
And I just started doing it. And then one day I said, you know what? I'm gonna get a certification. So
Mm.
then I took some classes, because you know how people are. People are, oh my goodness, people can be
Mhm.
so what certifies you? I said, well, first of all, life experiences,
Right.
and now this piece of paper, and
Mm.
now this piece of paper, So, and that's how I got into it, and I decided that entertainment and acting was my passion. But when I found out my
Mhm.
purpose was affecting change. My
Yeah.
purpose is helping people. That's when I really I really dove into it.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up about the certification thing because child, that's a whole other podcast. There can be in the coaching industry, some people can be life coach snobs. They really,
Oh
and
my
when I say
goodness.
life coach snob, they're like, "Oh, what certification do you have? And are you ICF certified? And oh, I've got this. I'm a John Maxwell coach. And what are you?" And it's like people don't really care about any of that. The only people who really care about those things are other coaches that are just trying to compare
Yeah,
advance
yeah.
themselves with the competition. Like people will listen to you if you don't have any certifications at all.
Yes, they will.
You've been
There's a
through this,
lane.
you can help me. Okay, great.
Yeah,
Tell me how to get
yeah.
where you're at, or tell me how to do what you did. That's all people
Mhm.
care about is if you can help them.
It's
Literally.
about it's about touching the heart. It's
Yeah.
about touching the heart and the spirit, and filling the void and a need. And people have to understand. That's why, like, when people talk to me, they were like, they find it funny. Like yesterday, I was someplace, and this lady and her husband like, "Oh my God, we were just watching your Chicago PD. Like, you so cool. You like a regular person." I say, "I am a regular person." I say, "I
Right.
just do that." I'm
Yeah.
like, "I just do that." It's like you treat people how you want to be treated.
Hmm.
And some of my buddies, they laugh at me and say, "Dude, you need to quit walking around like you're a regular person." I said, "I am a regular person." They said, "You're not." I said, "Yes, I am." And I get what they're saying.
Hmm.
You say, but because you do this and you do this and you do this, and people looking at you and this, and I get that. But at the end of the day, in my eyes,
Yeah.
I am. There's no big eyes and no little U's. There's people, and I'm a person. that cares about people, and and that's why I walk and talk the way I do, is because I just want to always be able to be a vessel to pour into other people and give back.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. So tell us what you're up to these days. I know you said you've written some more books, and what big things do you have coming up?
Oh my goodness. So on the entertainment side, I
Mhm.
have a movie screening in Chicago, February 8th,
Oh, okay.
at the North Riverside Theater. It's called To Death Do Us Part Two,
Mm.
written by Quincy J. Trent, co-directed by me. Yes, I was first AD, and I'm co-starring in it as well. I have another film premiering on March 9th, called Tyrant, like Father, like Son,
Mhm.
and it's written and directed by Bo Deal. And I'm also up for Actor of the Year award, which
And
will be that weekend in March. And I have a couple of books that I finished that I want to get out. I'm going to get out this year, and I'm going to bring out I have the Audible for
okay.
the book that you have. I have the Audible for Through the Eyes of a Man. I want to release the book because I did it on my own. I didn't go to a publishing company or anything. So I think that book really needs to hit the masses. So I need to, you'll probably give me some insight on that.
Yeah.
And I'm just uh I'm going to Memphis to speak. I've been working. Went to work with kids in Arkansas. I'm going to Memphis. I have an international film coming out titled Chokehold that was done on the island of Saint Martin. It just premiered in Saint Martin in Jamaica, and I'm co-starring in that. And I'm really looking forward to this year, taking the speaking and the mentoring and helping people and the coaching to
Yeah.
another level. That's why I was telling you and I was telling you. So I need see I'm when I need help, I reach out. And
I love
if people help me, they help me. If they don't, I'll still find a way. But I'm always going to be that conduit, to help people get where they need to be or help, put the pieces together. So I'm just really focusing now. I'm really focusing now on being a better speaker and life coach, and really getting some of the content that I have out there to help people,
Yeah.
and that's my goal. But along the way, I have some movies coming out, and I'm always hosting events and things like that. But this year, I'm really focused on taking my life coaching and my speaking to another level because I really think it's needed.
Yeah.
And that's why I applaud you for what you're doing and your
Yeah.
consistency and your commitment to helping others. So don't stop doing what you're doing.
Mhm. Yes, sir. I will not. I will not. I know some days I'll be like, Lord, are you serious? But I will not. I will keep on keeping on. And if I even
Oh,
think about it, I will
yeah.
quit. Simeon told me I can't quit, so I got to get over it and keep going. My
And I have to
husband
do
won't let
this.
me quit either.
I know he won't. I know he won't. And I have to do this, Nikki. I always forget to do this. I need people. People can find me on all social media. Everything is Simeon Henderson.
Mhm.
Uh, Subscribe to my YouTube channel where you can always find daily motivation. And I think you see, I started putting it up on LinkedIn now. It's always on Facebook and Instagram and IG. I'm always all of my stuff, guys, is all inspirational stuff or what's going on or promoting and helping other people. Nothing else. You won't see any buffoonery on my page. Anything. Every now and again, I might put some if it's funny, if it's funny, I might put something up, but everything is geared towards motivating people, encouraging people, and helping people walk in their purpose and be their best selves.
You guys, please follow Simeon on everything. Go
How
on
you
his
feeling?
website. Any book that you see, get it. But this one right here, especially my filter, you can't really see it. There you go.
There it is right there.
Through the Eyes of a Man, get
Hmm.
this. Especially if you have sons, get it for your
Oh yeah.
teenage boys and just let them read it. There's little exercises in here, like
Hmm.
coaching exercises.
To be
It's
symbolic moments.
Yes, so many teachable moments. This is a good book to read and reread and get for if you got life groups at church, get this for your life group, for your teen boys and go through it.
Hmm. And my email is Simeon Henderson 9.
Simeon
Simeon
Henderson.
Henderson, the number 9 at gmail.com. So
Yes.
yeah, so I appreciate it. I appreciate you having me. I'm looking forward to seeing the work that you're doing. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for sharing your testimony and being here. And thank you all for tuning in. Please go check out everything on SimeonHenderson.com and all his pages. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe if this podcast blessed you. Thanks for tuning in. Keep living victoriously. Bye, everybody. Hey, Victors. Coach Nikeya here. So let's see. You've set your goals for the new year. Check. You've created a vision board. Check. So that's it. You're all set to have a happy new year, right? And achieve all of your goals this year. That's got to be enough, right? Not so much. Did you know that 92% of people set goals and say, I'm going to do this and so by the end of the year and don't achieve them? Did you also know that the likelihood of you achieving your goal shoots up by 65% if you have accountability partners? And with that in mind, we are pleased to announce the Command Your 24 online course. This course is just what you need to make sure that you crush your goals despite life's challenges and have a victorious 2024. It comes complete with 8 weeks of powerful transformative teachings, weekly assignments, and weekly Q&A sessions with yours truly, access to a private online community, and so much more. You will also receive a 20% discount on all future courses, merch, and etc. So don't delay. Register today. We start February 1st, and we are going to have a victorious 2024, and we want you to join us.